What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Welcome back to another post-game live stream. Dang, let me get that out of the way. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Another post-game live stream. What's up, RDC people here in the chat room? Let's see. Let's see. See, Andrew, my man Andrew here. Perfect way to sum this up. That's all she wrote for the season. 2 years in a row, Staley fails this team. Couldn't be more disgusted. 100%. This thing is over, man. This thing is over. If you are a fan, if you have any hopes of the Chargers getting it together, maybe making the playoffs, this is over. This is over. And I tried to tell people last week, and I didn't want to be the guy because I know how sensitive Charger fans are. I know how sensitive some Charger fans are. Some Charger fans are so sensitive. And after a game like last week, right, where I seen the writing on the wall, and I seen that this team is still not a good team, right? The Cardinals, they put out the blueprint on how to lose to the Chargers. And I seen that last week. So I didn't want to come on here and I didn't want to be Mr. Negative, but I was coming on here and I was telling everybody the truth. This is still not a good team. You can't play the same way that you played against the Raiders, right? You can't play the same way last week against the Cardinals that you played against the Raiders. I told everybody that, and everybody said I was doom and gloom. But this team is just not good. And I've been trying to tell you guys, I've already seen this reality. I seen it early in the season. Week 3 was enough for me to see that this is not a well-coached team. That's really all I needed to see week 3. And I was pretty down on Staley. Unless something miraculous happened, I was down on Staley. And this is just who we are. This is just who we are. It doesn't matter if you're positive about it. It doesn't matter if you tweet positive things, if you're negative. It doesn't matter. This team is not a good coached team. This is not a well-coached team at all. The details do not matter. You ever hear that saying, the devil is in the details? Well, it ain't that way for the Chargers. The Chargers don't worry about the details. They don't care about the details. They can give two shits about the details. They just go out there and hope that Herbert saves them every week. And I'm convinced that this is something that is it's not just a coaching thing. I think this is an entire franchise thing now. It's within the franchise, right? This is a Herbert or bust type of thing. And if Herbert goes out and he makes the amazing plays, and he's clutch every single week, then the Chargers will win. If he doesn't, if he even comes up short, if he makes amazing play after amazing play, but just comes up short one time, then the Chargers lose. This is where this team is at. And it's a sad way to be, man. It really is. But I am not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by it, and I'm not upset by it. Because I expected a lot more of this, to be honest with you. I honestly expected a lot more of this. Let me get to these super chats here. Apex Prowler, shout out. Thank you for the super chat. Storm, the new right tackle. Sawyer, and no veteran backup for Sawyer spells clusterfuck. Well, yeah, 100%. These are offensive line issues that could have been addressed in the offseason. They could have been addressed midseason. They could even have been addressed earlier in the week, but they weren't. Like, there's no this is not a detail-oriented type of team, and you're seeing the results of it on the field. This team is just not a well-coached team, and it looks bad. Everything that you see that looks bad is something that could have been addressed, right? This is stuff that the coaches see. They just choose to, at this point, they choose to ignore a lot of things. They have to choose to ignore a lot of these things. I see these things on tape every week. These guys have to be ignoring this. Make the transition. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Can we talk about that pointing thing the guard does that makes it easy to jump the snap? Oh, that's the silent. I believe it's the silent count when the crowd is roaring and the linemen have trouble hearing they have trouble hearing the snap count or whatever. It's basically the guard telling the center that, hey, we're ready to go. You're ready to snap the ball. It's a silent count. A lot of teams do it differently. Some teams don't even do that. Like, I guess it just depends on who the offensive line coach is or how the offensive coordinator wants it. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Like, it doesn't give anything away. It's just when you have to go to silent because you can't hear, especially if Herbert has to come up and make some adjustments and they can't hear anything, then it's on the center and it's on the guard to do like the sight readings, right? So if they have to slide to the left or slide to the right, it's on them to do it when they're going to silent count, because you can't necessarily hear the quarterback come up and do it if the crowd is really loud and raucous. And I assumed that they were today because they really went to it. So I assumed that's what was going on. But I mean, that doesn't make a difference though. Honestly, in the way that they played, it really doesn't make a difference. And I think they went to it more. You've seen it more today because Corey Linsley didn't play. So I think that's why you've seen more of that. Andrew Slaughter, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you, my brother. Really appreciate it. I went back to your comment that I seen when we first got on here. Man, this is a wrap. This is a wrap. This is all she wrote for the season. 2 years in a row, Staley fails this team. And you couldn't be more disgusted. Same here. And I think as Charger fans, we all should feel this way. And I tweeted out just maybe 10 minutes ago or whatever. How has this team improved under Brandon Staley? Right, you went from the Anthony Lynn era to the Brandon Staley era. How, in what ways has this team improved? And you really you can't say that this team has improved really in any area, really in any area. Maybe special teams. I think Ryan Ficken is a pretty good special teams coach, but you're not going to win a game just off of the special teams, right? You need offense and defense, right? Those two components make up a big part of the game, right? More than 90% of the game, right? And then special teams comes in and it has its role, but special teams can't gain you yards on 3rd and 5, right? Special teams can't stop your, opposing team's running game, right? When you need to get a stop on 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, whatever. Like special teams can't cover Devontae Adams. So there's only so much special teams can do. But this team is just bad. This is just a bad team. Like there should not be honestly, at this point, there shouldn't really be any surprise when it comes to these type of losses. To be honest with you, I was hoping that they would win. I was hoping that they can pull it out, but it just didn't work out. Like the Chargers are a team that, again, they don't pay attention to details. They can get hyped up just like they did with the Niner game, right? They came out and they played well enough in pretty much the whole game to win the game, right? And this, even back then, I told a lot of people, do not be impressed by this, right? If you can play well enough for 52 minutes, you can play well enough to win the game. And there's a bunch of people who are impressed that, they played this well against the Niners and they didn't even have, such and such and such and such and such. If you can play that well for that long, then you should win the game. And people were not upset with the loss. They were okay with it. They're taking moral victories out of it. And I said, these moral victories don't do shit. They're not going to do anything. Moral victories have no bearing when you're preparing for an AFC West opponent, just like the Raiders, right? What moral victory that the Chargers had in week, what was it, week 10 or week 11 against the Niners that you can put, in action here against the Raiders? None. That's why I said there's no moral victories in the NFL. There shouldn't be any moral victories because each team is different, right? You have a new challenge every week, and it is up to your coaching staff. It is up to your players, right? It's up to everybody to get up to that new challenge, right? You're not playing the same team every week. You have new challenges. You have certain players that you have to watch out for, right? Some teams run the ball really well. Some teams throw the ball really well, right? Maybe you have a Devontae Adams one week. Maybe you're dealing with the Kyler Murray the following week, a Derrick Henry the other week. This league is so talented with so many different types of players. So you have to pay attention to the details every week, right? Playing well against the Niners did you no good against the Chiefs, right? Playing well against the Niners did you no good against the Raiders. Like these are the moral victories that you cannot have. And too many fans are so enthralled with the moral victories. And it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. When you see bad play, when you see a team win despite the bad play, it just doesn't make sense. Like all of this stuff is just ridiculous. And I'm over it. Like I've been a Charger fan for 20 years now. So I'm used to the disappointment. So I'm not getting all out of my skin about it. I'm used to the disappointment. Nothing really surprises me anymore as far as what the Chargers do, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Jerry Goldsberry said, I'm kind of glad the outcome time for rebuilding, sadly. Yeah, and honestly, I think we're at a point now as fans, right? We have Miami next week, right? We have Miami next week, Sunday Night Football. They're going to come in and they're going to score points. Defensively, they are not great, but neither are the Raiders. And we made the Raiders defense look really well today. We made them look like a well-oiled machine, even though they are not. So whatever their defense ranks and all of that stuff, you can throw it out the window when they come and play us. They're going to score points. They're going to do what they do. They're going to be very creative offensively, and they're going to be able to pretty much move the ball up and down the field on the Chargers. So when you look at the game next week and you look at everything that is going to go into it and all of the stuff with Tua against Herbert and all of this, this is going to be set up for something to happen, right? Something is going to have to happen, and I'm going to be dropping a video this week, and I'm going to get into it. So, but I can preview it here, right? So basically, this video, I see a lot of people talking, right? And if the Chargers lose next week, they go 6-7. I think you can pretty much write it off, right? They are 500 right now. They're 6-6. People look at it from a mathematical standpoint, and I get it. I understand, right? But we got next 2 weeks, Miami, Tennessee, right? I think the way the Chargers are playing right now, they're not going to win any of those games. They're just not. I think it's very safe to say that the Chargers will not win those games. But let me preview what this video is going to be about. I think I hear a lot of people talking about the Mike McCoy era. I hear a lot of people talking about the Anthony Lynn era, right? I hear a lot of people talking about those eras, and I see a lot of tweets and all of this stuff where you're talking about the Chargers normally let coaches finish out their contracts and all of this stuff, right? But when you look back, Mike McCoy, you look back at Anthony Lynn, right? The two most recent, I guess you can say fired or not extended head coaches, right? When you look back at them, you can look at the teams that those two coaches were taking over, right? You look at Mike McCoy. Mike McCoy took over in 2013, right? He took over a team with Phillip Rivers in his 9th year, right? The book was already written on Phillip Rivers at that point. He was already written. The book was already there, right? He was in his 9th year. His ceiling was there, right? Everybody knew who Phillip Rivers was, what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were. They knew that you had to put a team around Phillip Rivers in order to win, right? Everybody knew that, right? And the same thing could be said with Anthony Lynn when he comes in, 4 years later. So at that point, Phillip Rivers is in his 13th year, right? And he is pretty much on the downside of things, right? Everybody understands that. So the pressure in winning, right, for Mike McCoy, for Anthony Lynn is not there. You can give 4 years with Phillip Rivers, right? You can give these guys 4 years. You can give them 4 years. And hopefully Tom Telesco puts a good team together, right? Even though he struggled at that and really didn't do that well. You can look at that and say, okay, I can understand that. But this Brandon Staley thing, right? You come in taking over the reins with a star quarterback. You have a star quarterback, right? Everybody's seen how Herbert balled after his rookie year, right? They've seen that. Now you get to the second year. Last year, he breaks franchise records, right? Throws for a bunch of yards, over 5,000 yards, all the touchdowns. He breaks a franchise record. Now you get into this season. Justin Herbert is still a bona fide star in this league, but the pressure is on now to win. Right, the pressure is on to win. So this is not one of this isn't one of those situations where you can look at it and say, oh, you got to give Brandon Staley time. The book is out on Brandon Staley, and as far I know the owners are cheap, and I get that, and I know that, but they have to understand that Justin Herbert doesn't really have a ceiling right now, right? He doesn't have a ceiling through almost his 3 complete years. We've seen him make throws pretty much every game, right? We see a throw from him that he hasn't made every single game, right? We don't know what his ceiling is, right? I think Justin Herbert's ceiling is 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, to be honest with you. I think that year that Mahomes had, Herbert can do that easily if he had the right, head coach, if he had the right offensive coordinator, if he had the right defense. Herbert can do that. That's where I think his ceiling is. Now, I think the Chargers brass, they know this, right? If ownership has to know this by now. If they don't know this, then they are completely stupid. They have to know this by now, right? It's almost been 3 years. The pressure is there now. I don't think that this is one of those situations where you can say, hey, we're just going to wait for Brandon Staley to do this and to do that. We're going to wait for him. I don't think that matters, right? That's the first point, is that this is not the same This is not the same Phillip Rivers, right? This is not the same team. This is not the San Diego Chargers with Phillip Rivers, where you know that there's a ceiling and you know there's only so much success that you can have, right? I don't think that, right? That is the first point. Number two, the second point, if this Charger job becomes open, if Brandon Staley does get fired, this is going to be the best job that has hit the market for, I don't know. I can't, I wouldn't even, be able to go back, and you would have to really, really go back and see what jobs were better than this Charger job, right? How many coaches out there, college coaches, right? Current NFL coaches right now, right? Current NFL coaches, former NFL coaches, former college coaches. How many of those guys are going to want to tie their names, tie their legacies to a guy like Justin Herbert, right? How many coaches would be interested in that? There would be so many. There would be a bunch of coaches who are coaching NFL teams right now who would be interested in a Chargers coaching job if it opened. So this job, you have to remember, this is going to be the hottest job in all of the league if it opens up, right? This job wasn't necessarily hot even 2 years ago when Brandon Staley took over. Right now, you had Herbert, who had a pretty good rookie season, but he only played 15 games. So you didn't know, can he continue this? Can he keep this up? Right. This is going to be 3 years now. Justin Herbert is a bona fide superstar in this league. We know what he can do. Right. It's been through 3 games. He's done it under pressure. He's done it with backup linemen. He's done it with practice squad receivers. We know what he can do. Right. He has proven himself to be worthy of one of the best coaches in, football, right? Not just NFL, but college football. He's proven himself worthy that he can win pretty much with anybody, right? He can win and he can get his team to at least the level where they're still competing, right? Even with bad coaching, bad play all around. Justin Herbert has proven himself. He has proven himself in this league, right? So that would be another reason why this Charger job would be hot. It would be hot. You think that Jim Harbaugh is not going to look at this Charger job and say, "Hey, yeah, I love being at Michigan," but you don't think Jim Harbaugh is going to come and look at this job and say, "Hey, maybe I can attach myself to Justin Herbert"? You don't think that? If you think Jim Harbaugh is not looking at that, you're crazy. You're nuts. And it's already been reported. It's already been reported Jim Harbaugh has a $3 million buyout. I posted something in the community tab earlier. I think it was Tom Pelissero reported that Jim Harbaugh is being sought out by a bunch of NFL teams, right? Didn't name the teams, but a bunch of NFL teams. I would like to think that the Chargers are in it. I would like to think that. I hope that they are. But, I mean, Jim Harbaugh aside, if you're looking at other coaches, right? We've already seen Sean Payton has put his hat in the ring, right, as being interested. Sean Payton would have to compete against other coaches, I believe. Other coaches. You would have a bunch of coaches who want to tie themselves to a Justin Herbert. That is why these next 5 games are crucial. They are crucial for the Chargers. And honestly, I have no faith. I think they are going to lose at least 3 of them, to be honest with you. I think they're going to lose at least 3. I think the Chargers are not going to have a winning record. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So now I think all of our thinking right now needs to transition into the offseason and what this coaching staff will look like next year. I do not think this coaching staff will be back. They have not done anything. They have not proven anything that, warrants them getting a 3rd season. They really haven't. They have not proven anything, right? Offense, defense, they have not proven anything. I think the cupboard is going to be bare. I think they're going to strip this down. I honestly do. You cannot be out of, and when you look at this next week, right, the next 2 weeks, right, if the Chargers go 6-8, they're going to be out of the playoff hunt. They are just going to be out of the playoff hunt. What team with a great quarterback is out of the playoff hunt at week 14, right? Week 15. What team is out of it, right? Not very many. So this is going to be something that I think it's very, 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 very interesting to watch for, right? I think we got to watch for this now. This season it's pretty much been written off. You can honestly say that this has been written off. I don't think that the Chargers are going to be put in a position just with everything, and injuries haven't really, injuries have a lot to do with it. But when it comes down to coaching, when it comes down to decision making, when it comes down to play calling, right, when it comes down to preparation, when it comes down to all of these things that don't have anything to do with injury, the Chargers are bad at them. They are bad. They're terrible at it. They cannot stop the run. They can't get off the field on 3rd down, right? They're undisciplined on defense. None of these things have to do with injury. All of these things have to do with coaching, right? Most of it has to do with coaching. The players have to take a share of the blame as well too for playing at a level that is not acceptable, right? Especially for a team that wants to win. A lot of the players have to take responsibility for that. But at the end of the day, you're looking at a coach who has not accomplished anything. Brandon Staley has not accomplished anything. For everything that he says at the podium, for all the stuff that he talks about, for all of the great, press conferences, all of the great speaking that he does, everything that he does related to him being in front of a microphone is great, but he has not accomplished a damn thing in this league. And he has one of the best quarterbacks. If you cannot accomplish getting in the playoffs, with an expanded playoff, right? Even with an expanded playoff with one more spot, you can't do that with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You do not deserve a third year, right? 34 games is enough for me. 34 games should be enough for the Chargers brass to say this guy cannot get it done. You just cannot get it done. If you can't get it done, you can't get it done, right? That's just it is what it is. And I think that's where we are here. I'm pretty sure that's where we're at. I'm seeing the tide turn, right? And this has been a very interesting season. The tide has turned from, this is an injury thing. The tide has turned. I have seen everybody in real time realize what Brandon Staley is as a coach. I've seen that. Everybody is starting to come around, right? And it's only going to take maybe another loss for pretty much everybody to be on board. You've seen beat reporters, right? Beat reporters earlier in the season who are defending Brandon Staley, who are defending Joe Lombardi, who are defending all of this clownish type of coaching, behavior, right? They're defending this, right? I've seen everybody start to come around. It is bad. This is bad. This is going to be a disaster. And if the Chargers if they do not make the playoffs, right, which I don't think it is, right? I think their chances are now at 28% or something like that, 28, 29%, being 6-6 at this point, right? It's really not looking good for them, especially with the schedule, right? It doesn't look good. Things do not look good for the Chargers. And you got to remember too, if you are still super optimistic and still super positive, whatever, this season through 12 games, the Chargers have not beat a team with a winning record. You have to remember that, right? So you got Miami next week at, what are they, 7-4? And then you have Tennessee the following week, right? And they are 7-5, I believe, right? 7-5, 7-8 and 5, 8-4, whatever they are, right? They have a winning record. Both these teams, next 2 weeks, winning records. The Chargers have not beat a team with a winning record, right? And they have lost to two teams with losing records. So you have to look at it. The writing is on the wall. If you are really a person who is really, really feeling great about this season, I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you. You probably can't be helped at this point. But all I'm saying is that this thing, the bloom is off the rose, as they say, right? You cannot put you can't put it back, right? You cannot unsee this. Charger fans cannot unsee this. This is a bad coach team. The writing was on the wall. I seen this early in the season. I got criticized so much for being negative, for being doom and gloom. Now look at what's going on, right? The doom and gloom is not me. The doom and gloom is happening every Sunday on the field. That's the doom and gloom that you see. It's not me. It's not me. This team sucks. They suck, right? And I'm not saying the players suck or anything like that, but this iteration of players and coaches, they suck together. They cannot get it done. They can't get it done. Scheme is bad on both sides of the ball, and those are things that you cannot change in the middle of the season, right? So at that point, now it is time for the players to go out there, right? Try their best, right? Really put their talent out there, try their best to make things happen. If they're able to do that, then you're going to be able to win some games. And that's what the Chargers have done, right? They have enough talent to win games. But when it comes down to coaching, when it comes down to X and O's, when it comes down to really making decisions that are going to win games, when it comes down to personnel decisions as well too, the Chargers just are not good at it. They're not good at it at all. Again, I think I tweeted about this a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which game it was. I can't remember. I think it was the Niner game or the was it the Niner game or the Kansas City game? It was either one of those games, but the Chargers went into the game with 4 active wide receivers, right? They don't carry 5 wide receivers on game day. They carry 4 wide receivers, right? I don't know why. Don't know why they do that. And they end up carrying 3 running backs almost all the time, right? When only 2 running backs actually play. This doesn't make any sense, right? Obviously, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And this shows you how bad it is, right? This starts off, the incompetence starts off in the front office. It starts off with the executives up there, right? And then it trickles its way down onto the field. And that's what you see every single week, right? And had we not had Justin Herbert, this thing would be a complete and utter mess. This would be a 2-win team right now, right? If we didn't have Justin Herbert, this would be a 2-win team, maybe a 2-win team, even if that. This team is just not good. They are not good. They are not coached well. And at this point right now, with another loss, players are going to start checking out, and they're going to look even worse, right? The mistakes are going to be made. There's missed tackles everywhere. There have been more missed tackles in the past couple of weeks. I want to say like maybe the past 3 weeks than I remember really all season long, right? Of course, there's been missed tackles, but these missed tackles to me look like checking out missed tackles, right? I don't really want to tackle this guy, right? Not necessarily guys putting moves on me. It's just I just really don't want to tackle him, right? That's what it looks like to me. And you're going to start seeing a lot more of that as the season goes on. This team is not going to be anywhere close to the playoffs. In my opinion, I just honestly don't think that. What is going on? These freaking bots putting all these sex links in the chat. What the hell is going on, man? I mean, it's weird, but I guess my channel has grown, so I got the bots putting the sex links in the chat. So shout out to them. So yeah, I just blocked one right now. Sex chat 69.site was putting sex chat in the link. So I guess my channel's grown enough that they want to come advertise over here, but that's weird. But I mean, again, man, this is just who we are. This is just who this team is, and you got to deal with it now, right? 12 games. There's only 5 games left. This is who the Chargers are. There's no other level of, and I think that's what a lot of fans need to understand, and a lot of fans need to realize at this point right now, right? There's no other level that the Chargers are going to hit. There's no level up here. There's no, once we get everybody back, we're going to hit this level. That's gone. All of that's out the window. There's only 5 games left, right? 2 of them are against playoff teams. There's no level that the Chargers are going to hit that they haven't hit already this year. This is who this team is. There's really no more time. And this is what I was saying a couple of weeks ago, right? These are must wins. And a lot of people doing the schedule watching and all this stuff, predicting wins and all of this stuff. You can predict all you want to, but they have to come out and play. They got to play the game. And this is where we're at. This is where the Chargers are at. So take the schedule, the rest of the schedule. Y'all can take it. You can, whoever is on there. Denver is on there. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. This team ain't good enough to really beat anybody, right? They're not good enough to beat anybody who knows what they're doing. And the Raiders came out and they ran the ball. They didn't run the ball as well as they did last week in Seattle, but Devontae Adams was one-on-one all game long. So at that point, Josh McDaniels is like, let's go with this, right? They're going to put him in one-on-one all game. So let's go here, right? One-on-one pretty much with no help. And running crossing routes, and the DBs are in trail coverage, right? It's really pitch and catch. It's easy stuff for Derek Carr, easy stuff for Devontae Adams. It's easy. It's easy. It really is easy. And, he ate us up today, but that was Staley's plan, was to go one-on-one with Devontae Adams. That Mr. Defensive Genius, that was his plan, was to go one-on-one with the best wide receiver in the league. I really at a loss for words, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, so I got on my soapbox enough. Got on my diatribe. Let's see what y'all are talking about here in the comments. Let's see. I seen this one here. I'm gonna start here. Chris Flow. We get pushed around every week in the trenches. Yeah, defense gets no push on runs, no pressure, no passes. 100%. And Staley said that this was going to be a trench team. This is not a trench team. This team is soft. This is Charmin 3-ply soft. That's who this team is, right? A lot of bark, no bite. This is a soft team. You can do whatever you want against the Chargers. You can hit the shit out of Herbert all you want all game, and you can run on us, right? They don't stop anything. You can do whatever you want to do. Come hit our quarterback, right? Come hit him. And then, offensively, you can run the ball on us, right? We're not going to stop you. We're not going to do anything. And then your best player, we're going to single cover him all game long. It just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. Really doesn't make sense. And it makes you, like, any type of hope that you've had as a fan is gone. And it should be gone at this point now, because the Chargers have not shown you anything. Brandon Staley has not shown you that he is competent at all. He has not shown you that he's competent, and he's not. He's just not competent. Again, that's where we are. Staley screwed our cap up for a few years. Yeah, unless we move off of one or two really expensive players. Yeah, we have 40 million a season with just Kenan and Mike. Right. With just Kenan and Mike, yeah, with those two. And then you have, I talked about it too, JC Jackson. His number jumps up double next year. He was 8 million this year, and he jumps up to more than 17 million next year. I think 17.2 or 3 something. So his money jumps up next year, right? You have Sebastian Joseph Day. He's got guaranteed money next year. Austin Johnson guaranteed money next year. Yeah, the cap there's really no flexibility. Now they can do some stuff as far as moving some money around, signing bonus money and all of that stuff, but there's only so much room that they can create, right? They can't create a lot of space with that, right? They can maybe clear out some stuff, maybe I don't know, maybe get in the create 10 to 15 million worth of space, but even still, when you look at Herbert, right, if he is interested in signing a long-term deal, that is going to happen this season, right? If he's interested in signing that, right, you're gonna have to take that money into account too. So then you're gonna be in the red. Now you have to create space just to fit Herbert's contract in. So the salary cap implications are there for the next few seasons, right? You're gonna have to let somebody go, and I'm just assuming that Herbert does want to sign a long-term deal, right? If he does want to do that, get extended, you're going to have to let a good player go every year because you're not going to be able to afford him. This is why this year was such a and I've talked about it even earlier in the season, I think in the offseason. This is why this year was such a very crucial year for the Chargers. They had to maximize this, right? The Super Bowl window is open now, right? You've seen teams do it with quarterbacks, younger quarterbacks on their rookie deals, right? You've seen teams do that. The way that the pay schedule works out now, the pay scale in the NFL, right? The rookie salary cap, right? If you are able to get to a Super Bowl within the first 4 years of drafting a quarterback, right? You're looking good, right? Because you are able to build around him. You're able to shore up positions that you wouldn't be able to shore up if you had to pay this guy, 40 million a year. You're not able to do that. You're just not going to be able to do that going forward. So if Staley can't get the most out of this team, right? Justin Herbert's salary this year is $6 million. Justin Herbert, if he gets, extended, his salary is going to be upwards of $40 million, right, going forward. Now, I don't think all of it will come down for next season, but if he does sign in the offseason, some of the signing bonus money will fall in the salary cap numbers next year, right? So he will be up. His number will go from like 6 million to probably 15 or 16 million, right? Because some of that signing bonus money is going to have to be had next season in order to spread it out kind of evenly over the next 4 or 5 years or however long his extension is. So if Staley can't get the most out of this team, he's not going to be able to get the most out of the team next year when they are less talented, right? When they have less, less to work with on defense, less to work with on offense. You look at a guy like Morgan Fox. Are they going to be able to afford to re-sign him? I don't know. Probably not. You look at a Bryce Callahan. Are they going to be able to re-sign him? Probably not. You look at these guys, these little, guys who are on 1-year deals and stuff. They're not going to be able to resign some of these guys, the ones who make plays, right, on offense. Maybe a DeAndre Carter, can they re-sign him? Maybe not. Like you don't know. You don't know going into it. So these are positions. These are guys. Their production is going to have to be replaced, right, by draft picks. And if you don't hit on draft picks, then that production doesn't get replaced, and then the team gets worse, right? That's normally how it goes. So if the Chargers want to avoid that, they're going to have to get the most out of what they have. And they have already, Brandon Staley has already proven that he is a coach that does not get the most out of play. So with that, already being cemented, right? How do the Chargers go into year 3 of Brandon Staley, right? If they do, it is a disaster. And they can't afford that. If they were to go into a year 3 of Brandon Staley, he doesn't make it through the whole season. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell he makes it through the whole season if that was the case. I don't think it'll be the case, but if that was the case, there would be no way. Absolutely no way. Let's see. Once again, our offense is down. Yeah. This is like that Jaguars game. Our O-line was decimated, and Herbert couldn't do anything. All our wide receivers had no separation the entire game. Not one got open. And this is why I put it out. This is why I started talking about, and I see a lot of people are really, really talking about Harbaugh now. I've been talking about Harbaugh for weeks now. If you guys have been here and you have been watching my content, whatever, I put the video out about Harbaugh weeks ago. I put the video out about Harbaugh a couple weeks ago because I have said this team needs a re-imaging, right? They need a re-imaging. They don't just need a new coach. They need a re-imaging. You cannot, and this is why I don't get the injury excuses and all of this stuff. There's two of your starting offensive linemen are out, right? The Chargers went straight drop back almost every single play. Anytime they didn't run the ball, they went straight drop back every single play. Why? Why are you calling the game like your line, like your starting offensive line is playing when they're not? Why? Like, it doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. This is all coaching, right? So you put Herbert in bad positions and you tell him, even though you're in a bad position, we still need you to make heroic plays, right? And he does it a lot of the time. And that's the crazy part about it. If he didn't do it a lot of the time, I think Staley would have already been gone, to be honest with you. But Herbert does it. A lot of the times he comes out and he saves everybody. He saves people's asses. And that's what he does. But if you're going to have injuries, you must adjust. And if you're not adjusting, then you're losing. And this is what's going on here with the Chargers. So this is why the Harbaugh thing, I've been talking about Harbaugh for a while now, because Harbaugh, everywhere he goes, he wins. And what does he do everywhere that he goes, right? He runs the damn football. They have power football everywhere they go. If you watched the Big Ten championship game last night, what did they do last night? They ran the football. Their best running back, Blake Corum, Michigan's best running back. Blake Corum got hurt. He's out injured for the season. Did it matter last night? Not a single bit, right? They had another running back who came in, Donovan Edwards, did work, right? Put up 150 yards or whatever. They run the ball. When they have offensive line injuries, guess what they still do? They run the damn ball, right? You can't be on Harbaugh's team. As an offensive lineman, you can't be on Harbaugh's team if you're not good at run blocking, right? If you're not a good run blocker, if that's something you struggle with, guess what? You can't be on Harbaugh's team because they're going to run the ball. It doesn't matter who is suited up to play. They're going to run the ball. And that is what the philosophy is. And it rubbed off. It rubbed off on the team. Michigan is a tough team. They got their asses kicked by Georgia last year in the college football playoff. Michigan has a legitimate chance to win the national championship this year. They are tough. They are tough. They are a tough team. And they lost. They had a couple of first-round draft picks that they lost on their defense last year, too. Like, they are tough. He has built that team into a tough team. They are not pussy at all. They will go and hit you in the mouth. They will go and hit you in the mouth and do it again over and over and over and over again. And then shake your hand and say, good job after the game. That's what that team is. They are tough. The Chargers need to be re-imaged into a tough team. This is a soft team. This is soft football. You cannot win playing soft football. Soft football does not work. It doesn't work. Every now and then, you'll see a finesse team win and all of this stuff. And if this was, and this is why I think a lot of coaches, a lot of GMs, a lot of executives just in general are copycats. Nobody has any original type of thoughts, right? Anytime you see a player, a Patrick Mahomes, right? Everybody wants to get a Patrick Mahomes, right? If you have success with coaching, right? When McVay had success with the Rams, everybody, let's go get the next Sean McVay. Let's go get Sean. Nobody has any original thought. And I think that is something in the NFL that doesn't get talked about a lot, right? Harbaugh is a guy, he is an original thought guy. He doesn't give a shit who your quarterback is, right? If he was to coach the Chargers, he wouldn't give a shit how Mahomes play. He's not going to come in and say, I want Justin Herbert, I want you to play like Mahomes. He's not going to say that. He has his own identity. And his identity is building a team that will come out and beat you up for 60 minutes and hit you in the mouth. There's no defense for that. There's no defense for that. You can't game plan against that. If you have a tough team that comes out, whoops your ass for 60 minutes, there's just no defense against it. There's just not a solid defense against it. And you see it. He's done it everywhere he went. College level, NFL level, right back to the college level, right? Kind of in different eras as well, too. This is a guy who has a philosophy. I've been talking about Harbaugh. They need to be reimaged. This is a soft team. Brandon Staley is a soft coach. He doesn't know how to instill toughness in his players. He just doesn't. He doesn't have the experience. Brandon Staley needs to go back to being a coordinator. He needs to get his philosophy, his coaching philosophy. He needs to change a bunch of things about the way that he does things, right? He needs to change up. We already know the bloom is off the rose with Brandon Staley. I've been talking about Harbaugh for a while, though. And like I said, there's going to be other coaches, not just Harbaugh, not just Sean Payton. There's going to be other coaches who are interested in this Charger job once it becomes open, because I do believe it will become open. Make the transition. Thank you for the super chat. So Telesco is sabotaging his replacement. No, I don't think so. I don't think he's sabotaging his replacement. I just think that he is misguided. I think he trusts Brandon Staley more than he has trusted any of the other coaches. I think they both went to the same college or something like that. So I think he has a little bit more of a personal relationship with him. But he trusts Staley more than he trusted Anthony Lynn. He trusts Staley way more than he trusted Mike McCoy, right? Because these players and everything that the Chargers did in the offseason, right? This is all Brandon Staley. It all has his fingerprints on it. He needed these guys in order to improve the defense and all of this stuff. Defense didn't improve. It got worse, right? So it shows you that this plan, that whatever plan that Brandon Staley had for the Chargers is not working, right? It's not working, and it's not going to work. Through 29 games, right? This is not going to work. It's just not going to work. 29 games is a pretty damn big sample size, right? Some players who get drafted or signed in the league don't even play 29 games in their career. So 29 games is a huge sample size to know that what he's doing is not working. So I think that he really, really trusts Brandon Staley. And as of right now, that's a bad move on his part, right? It's a bad move to trust him because this just isn't working, right? To spend all this money and to have all of this disappointment on defense, to have all this disappointment just on team in general it's not good. It's not good stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's sabotaging I don't think he's sabotaging it for whoever takes over, but I think Telesco is out too. His contract is up, so the Chargers don't even have to fire him. But things are going to have to change. Things are going to get moved around for the Chargers. I believe. I definitely believe. One negative on Justin, he's got to stop sliding into 3rd and 2s, run for the first down, please. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. I 100% agree with that because especially for this game too, because he had been taking so many hits in the pocket, and those hits he didn't even know were coming, right? They're just coming from left and right and from behind and all of this stuff. The advantage that you have when you're running the ball as a quarterback, he can see who's coming, right? So he can brace for a hit, right? He can brace for a hit and maybe fall forward for a first down, but he does do that, and I don't know why. I don't know why when he takes so many hits in the pocket. I mean, you might as well just take a hit while you're running too, right? You're going to get hit. So we know this. The line did not protect him well. The line hasn't protected him well for the past 3 to 4 weeks, right? So he's been getting hit. If you're going to get hit, you might as well pick up the first down. That's how I see it. So I definitely agree with that. 100%. Facts, you did. Yeah. I try to tell everybody, man. I try to tell everybody. I remember Harbaugh getting his players to go out all out in every play, and when they made a play, they show emotion. Some would even cry in joy. Yeah, 100%. They're and this whole thing, the people who don't like Harbaugh are talking about Harbaugh as a person. They're talking about him in a personal sense, right? Which fans don't give a shit about. I don't care. I don't care that Brandon Staley is friends with the players. I don't give a shit. How does that help the team win? Obviously, him being close friends with players doesn't help the team win, right? I don't care about that. Jim Harbaugh, I don't give a shit that he rubs people the wrong way. It doesn't matter. Do you want to win or not? I don't care. Yes, he's weird. He's quirky. He's very eclectic, I guess you can say. But who cares? Who cares? This man has a track record of winning everywhere he goes. That should be the only thing that you care about in the NFL. This is not a friend business. If it was a friend business, there wouldn't be people getting fired. This is not a friend business. This is a winning business. If you're not going to win, we don't give a shit. We don't care. I could care less that Harbaugh doesn't get along with people. I don't care. I could care less that Harbaugh doesn't have dinner with the players, or he's not buddy with the GM, or he's not buddy with the owner. Who gives a shit? Who cares? If you want somebody to do that, then hire somebody to be your friend. If you hire a football coach, you hire him to win games. You hire him to lead a team of 53 men out onto a field every week, every Sunday, to win games, right? And ultimately, you get to a Super Bowl, win the trophy. That is what you hire a football coach for. You don't hire a football coach to be this PR person, or to be somebody who likes everybody, or to be some guy who's telling jokes, or to be a funny guy. Nobody gives a shit about that. I don't care. Nobody cares. If that was the case, Bill Belichick would be out of the league. He would have been out of the league a long time ago, right? He's an old curmudgeon guy who doesn't want to talk to anybody. He really wants to be alone and all of this stuff. Like, What does that matter? That shit does not matter. People need to get out of here with that stuff. Like it doesn't matter what Jim Harbaugh does. It doesn't matter if he is getting into arguments with GMs and all of that stuff. Does he win? Is he producing on the field? Is he producing on the field? If he's producing on the field, what does it matter? And obviously he produces everywhere that he goes. If he rubs so many people the wrong way, why does he produce everywhere that he goes? Right? He doesn't rub the players the wrong way because everywhere he goes, they get better. Everywhere he goes, they get better. If Jim Harbaugh wasn't at Stanford, I think Andrew Luck, he's probably still the number one pick, but they don't have success. They don't have the success that they have. They don't win conference championships if Jim Harbaugh is not there. They don't do it. They just don't do it, especially at Stanford too. And to me, that's the most impressive thing that he did was turning Stanford around. Because if you know anything about college football, if you know anything about just colleges in general, right? Stanford is a hard place to recruit at, right? You can't go generally to where USC recruits, right? USC recruits in places where guys don't have to be brainiacs, right? If you have a 2.0 and you don't do anything stupid off the field, USC is going to offer you a scholarship, right? That's not good enough for Stanford. Stanford, you got to have a 3.0. You have to be an exceptional student. You have to have so many interests off the field. You have to do all this extracurricular stuff to even get accepted into the university. It is a hard place to recruit. So you don't have hotbeds for Stanford. Stanford is not a hotbed recruiting type of place, right? You don't look at a place. You don't look at San Francisco. You don't look at anywhere up north. Oakland, that's not a hotbed for recruiting for Stanford. So you literally have to go around the country. I think Andrew Luck went to high school in Texas, right? So they had to go all the way to Texas to recruit him, right? Some of the other players on that team went to high schools at different places just around the country. There's really no recruiting bed for Stanford. So you got to go and you got to pick and choose all these players from around the country, right? And you have a very, very small, finite number of players, of good players that you can get, right? 4 stars, but you probably don't even get any 5 stars. I don't even think Andrew Luck was a 5-star at high school. You get maybe just a few 4 stars, and the rest of them are 3 stars and below. So the job that he did turning Stanford around, Stanford was beating the dog shit out of USC for a while when Jim Harbaugh was the coach. They went into the Coliseum and they beat the dog shit out of them 3 times in a row, whatever it was. Like they were beating up USC. That's how good of a job that he did with a very small number of recruits. USC can recruit anywhere. They can recruit anywhere. They're a private university. They don't really have a standard as far as their academics and stuff go. They can talk about it all they want to, but they really don't. I know guys that got recruited there who weren't good students, right? They don't have that type of thing that Stanford does. Stanford is really Harvard of the West. So you have to be smart. You have to be an intelligent person to go there. You have to have the grades. You have to have all of this type of stuff. You cannot just you can't just go anywhere and recruit for Stanford. So with that being said, he got the most out of those small, finite number of 3 and 2-star recruits that he had at Stanford. They were beating USC every single year, right? They were getting to Pac-12 championships. They were winning. They were winning. Stanford was winning. And you look at Stanford now, I think they won 3 games this year. Jim Harbaugh is a good-ass coach. People don't understand that. They don't understand it. They really don't understand it. When they talk about what he does personally and all this shit, I don't want to hear it. Does he win? Can he win? And yes, he can win. He can win at Stanford with all these brainiac football players. Yes, he can. And he put a lot of them in the NFL. So yes, Jim Harbaugh can win. We know this. I know this. That's who I want as a coach. If I had to pick anybody personally, that's who I would pick 100%. Give me Jim Harbaugh. I'm seeing what he's doing with Michigan. Give me Jim Harbaugh. He has some roots in San Diego. I think he still lives there. I want to say he still lives there, or he lived there for a really long time. But he has roots in San Diego. Obviously, played for the Chargers. So there are some people that are still in the organization that know him. So give me Harbaugh. If I had to pick anybody, even give me Harbaugh over Sean Payton. I'm on Harbaugh because I like the mentality of turning this team from a soft, sissified team to a tough team who's going to come out and whoop ass every single week. I like that. Give me Harbaugh for real. I seen this comment here. Why didn't Lombardi attack Tillery like everyone else did when he played for us? You can't really expect anything from Lombardi at this point. Like I mention him every now and then, but he is what he is, man. Everybody knows it. This man is not getting any better. He is what he is. We all know this now. The book has been written on that. We need a speed guy as well. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we do need a speed guy. Okay, time for another L in front of the nation on primetime next Sunday. Bolt down. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think so. We're gonna lose. We'll definitely lose to Miami next week. 100. Well, I unless anything crazy happens, I think we lose to Miami. Who do you think the next head coach realistically? I think Jim Harbaugh is realistic. I think he's realistic. Again, I said he $3 million buyout. That's a realistic number. That's pocket change to a lot of NFL teams, right? That's pocket change to most NFL teams, except for the Raiders, because they have debt or tax debt or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But they don't. They're cash poor, so that's not pocket change for them. But for most other teams, the Chargers, that's pocket change for the Chargers. They don't pay any rent to play at SoFi Stadium. The Chargers are making money hand over fist, right? They're making hundreds, well into the 300 and 400 millions of dollars a year. That's how much the owners are making off the Chargers. So $3 million to get Jim Harbaugh out of his contract at Michigan, that's nothing, right? It really is nothing. So it's realistic to me. Jim Harbaugh is realistic to me. If you're looking at any other candidates with a realistic, I really don't know. I don't know who's out there right now. Again, there's going to be people interested in this job if it gets open, right? There's going to be people interested in it that you don't think would be interested in it. So I honestly think the Chargers are going to have a lot of candidates. They're going to have a lot of candidates with a lot of experience. I don't think that you're going to have to go with a coach that is a first-time coach that's never been, in a head coaching position or just been a coordinator for a little bit. I think the Chargers are going to have a bunch of candidates. They're going to have people lining up at their doorsteps to try to be the coach of this team. So I don't, I can't say right now, I think Jim Harbaugh is realistic. He's my pick. And the seat is warming up for him. A lot of people were really, really wanting Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh wanted to come back to the NFL last year. Jim Harbaugh wanted the Vikings job. He wanted the Vikings job with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. So when you look at that fact, right, when you say that Jim Harbaugh wanted to coach Kirk Cousins, and you look at Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins, he's been fine his entire career, right? He's just been fine, right? He hasn't been spectacular. He hasn't been terrible or disaster. He's been fine his entire career. When you look at that and you say Jim Harbaugh wanted to tie himself to Kirk Cousins, and you look at the opening for the Chargers potentially being open, and you say, oh, you have Justin Herbert there. I think, it's safe to say that Harbaugh would choose Herbert over Kirk Cousins as his quarterback. I would think so. But, none of these questions are going to be answered until this actually happens. But honestly, I think Harbaugh is a realistic candidate. I honestly do. I honestly do. I don't understand how we got Crosby versus Norton last year and we didn't adjust this time. Yeah, with Crosby versus Foster Sorrell, right? And Crosby didn't even have to do anything. Crosby was just speed rushing. Like, I didn't see any moves from Crosby. I just seen him go around 73, look like a turnstile. Just go around him quickly. He was just speed rushing. He didn't do anything special. Like, it's not like he went deep in his bag of pass rushing moves. He just went past him. Yeah, and the Chargers left him one-on-one a lot, and Herbert got hit a lot. Herbert's going to be sore as shit tomorrow. Guarantee that. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. I just don't know. No more rookie head coaches, and I don't want Frank Reich either. Yeah, same here. I don't think I want Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich can work as a coordinator, but as a head coach, I don't think that he has. I don't think that he is a guy that's going to produce enough for what the Chargers have right now and what the expectations are right now. I just don't think. I don't think that he has it. I really don't. Honestly don't. Okay, probably some one-hit wonder coordinator again. I hope not. I really hope not. I really hope not. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Let's see. You said the Chargers are a soft team. Yeah, so is my quarterback. I love Herbert, but he plays not to get hurt. We need a tough coach. Soft doesn't mean bad, but it doesn't show the heart of the team. Yeah, and Herbert does do a lot of that. He does. He does do a lot of the sliding and stuff when he has the first downs. He's got to get that out of his system. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just maybe I don't. Are they telling him to do that? He didn't do it in college. I know he didn't do it in college. If anybody watched the Rose Bowl, Herbert's last game in college when they played Wisconsin, he was running all over the place. He was running like a madman. He looked like Josh Allen that game. Like he was running everywhere and he wasn't sliding. Like he really broke loose and he started running like great. Like that was crazy. And I had not seen him do that at any point during that season. But he was running like crazy, and he's a big guy. You know, he's not going to. You're not going to come up and just. You're not going to come up and just like injure him. Like especially guys that are coming up that are hitting him are smaller than him too. So I don't know. I think it is. I think it's just a team. It is a team thing. I think Herbert does have to be a little more aggressive in the run game because it's there. It's there for him. He got aggressive last week in Arizona. I do think when there is a chance to run out of bounds, you do it. But if it's between going down 3 yards before a first down and taking a first down, give me a first down. Give me the first down. You're gonna get hit anyway. You're gonna get hit in the pocket all damn game long. You might as well square somebody up and try to put them down. But we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, the Staley coaching tree has burned down. Thing is, the Spanos will still buy it and show rerun movies to his fans. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I think this is different. I think this is different because of Justin Herbert. I honestly do. Like this even feels different when you're looking at Charger coaching, right? When you're looking at guys who the writing's on the wall, right? With McCoy, you knew the writing was on the wall. You knew he was going to be fired. When you're looking at Anthony Lynn, you knew the writing was on the wall. You knew he was going to be fired, right? When you're looking at head coaching candidates and you're not expecting the Chargers to take a big swing. You're not expecting them to really do anything, right? Because Phillip Rivers, and again, I love Phillip Rivers. I'm not taking a shot at him at all, but Phillip Rivers was a guy that was, he was what he was, right? The book was written on him. His ceiling was defined. He had a very, very defined ceiling. And you knew Phillip Rivers was not going to go over that ceiling, right? Unless everything around him was perfect, right? Which obviously is hard to do in the NFL, right? And it's almost impossible. But everything around Phillip Rivers had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect. And if it wasn't, you were not going to get anywhere, right? And that's what we knew. But I think when you're talking about Herbert, you look at his ceiling. We don't know what his ceiling is yet, right? We know, only thing we know about Herbert's ceiling is that it is ridiculously high, right? We see him play, we see him, make the throws, we see the accuracy, we see, everything that he's able to do in the pocket, right? We see him being clutch, 10 fourth quarter and overtime comebacks already in his career. He does everything, right? He's able to take hits, right? He's able to run a little bit out of the pocket as well. So he can do everything as a quarterback, right? This is something I think is different. I think it just feels different. It feels like there is more urgency here. Even watching these games as a fan, watching the announcers talk about it, everything going around the NFL, all of it is urgency. It's based around urgency and getting the absolute best coach, the absolute best coordinators, the absolute best players that you can around Justin Herbert. This seems like a urgent situation. It does seem like an urgent situation because if they don't do it, then talk is going to come about about Justin Herbert possibly leaving the Chargers, and I think this is another angle that I think a lot of people, and this is something that you probably won't hear being talked about throughout the media and all of this stuff. Can Justin Herbert be the next Andrew Luck, right? Can he play 7 years and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm taking my ball and I'm going, right? Can that happen? Can that happen? And again, I'm gonna drop another video about this. But when you look at Andrew Luck, right, and I think these guys are very, very, very good to compare, right? They're perfect to compare, right? Because they almost look the same physically. Herbert's a little bigger, but still big arm, right? Smart guys, very private guys, right? The only thing we knew about Andrew Luck in where Andrew Luck was, as far as year 3, right, or year 2, end of year 2, going into year 3, just like Justin Herbert, right? We knew at that point Andrew Luck was good. He was talented, right? He loved football. Nobody's seen his career being this short, right? Nobody's seen it at that point. But at that point, and when you hear Andrew Luck talking about his retirement and all this stuff, what happened, right? The injuries, the hits, all of that stuff started piling up, right? His body started to take a beating, right? And when you look at Herbert this year, What do you look at with Herbert? Right, the rib injury, right? Obviously was a big rib. Obviously was a big, very big injury, right? Affected his play for a long time. Um, right, it seems that he's got past that. But when you look at just even the past few weeks, right, all the hits that he's taken, right now, he's a tough, very, very tough guy. We don't know what he's dealing with, and he seems like the type of guy that probably wouldn't disclose the injury just so he could play, right? So when you look at that, right, how is his body going to respond if he continues to get beat up for the next, I don't know, the next 2 years or whatever, right? How is he going to feel in year 7, right? We don't know. We don't know. We honestly don't know. So can Justin Herbert be the next Andrew Luck? The other angle to this as well too is that when you look at Andrew Luck, right? You seen him through college and all of this stuff. What is the one thing that Andrew Luck wasn't, right? Andrew Luck was not a commercial guy, right? He wasn't a social media guy. I think he was at the national championship game. Was it last year, the college national championship game, or was it last year, year before, or whatever? The man still has a flip phone, right? He don't even have an iPhone. He's not even into any of the the modern technologies or anything like that. He obviously does not have social media, right? Obviously, you don't see this dude around. He's not just walking around in a mall somewhere, right? What does Andrew Luck do outside of football, right? What is his personal life like? We don't know. We have no idea, right? What does he do when he's not studying football or he's not practicing or whatever? We had no idea, right? We had no idea. Nobody knows. That's for him and his close personal friends and his family to know, right? So when you look at that angle from Andrew Luck and you compare it to Justin Herbert, what does Justin Herbert do outside of football? We don't know, right? What's he into? We have no idea, right? Is he on social media? Yes, he is, but he's posting stuff that is promotional to get paid, right? So he's making money on social media pretty much. That's why he has it, right? Is he a guy who every time you turn your TV on, is he on a commercial? No. Is he just walking around somewhere in some mall doing some random stuff? Does he just show up and pop up at different events? No. That's not who he is, right? So when you look at what these guys are into off the field, right? And I think that's something that has to be talked about, right? You are will Justin Herbert love football as much as he does now? Will he love football as much as he does now in 3 years? After his body got beat up, after he's had a few more injuries, after he's played behind more bad offensive lines, after he has dealt with Joe Lombardi's bullshit, not being able to make the playoffs, not really having a way to succeed as a quarterback or to have any success, any team success. Will his love for football still be there 3 years down the line? We don't know, right? Does Herbert even have a girlfriend? Right? We don't know. We know none of this. We know nothing about Justin Herbert outside of what he does on the football field. So when a guy is not talkative and then when he's not expressive and you don't know anything about his personal life, he could, I'm not saying that he will, but it's not insane to think that maybe this guy will have enough of this after another 3 or 4 years of the Chargers. Will he have enough? Will they take his love of football away? We don't know. Right, I'm just saying we've seen this with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck is a similar type of personality to Justin Herbert. He's a little more talkative, but they're similar personalities. We don't know much about these guys. All we know is that they got beat up. Right, obviously Herbert's being beat up. You see the numbers; he's being hit the second most in the league right now. The writing could be on the wall there, so we have to we got to look at that angle as well too. So the Chargers, they have decisions to make. And this is why I think the coaching, let me tie all this in, right? This is why I think the coaching decision going forward is going to mean a lot. It's going to mean a lot for the future of the franchise. It's going to mean a lot for, just implications going all around. And I think it's going to mean a lot for Herbert personally, right? If he gets a Jim Harbaugh to play behind, if he's not getting hit, if he's having success, if he's in AFC championship games, if he gets that taste of success, right? I honestly think he will play as long as he can. But if he's not really, doing any of that stuff, if he's just putting up, huge gaudy numbers, no playoff success, and just getting hit, I don't know. I just don't know. And he doesn't seem like a guy that's spends a lot of money. He doesn't wear designer clothes or any of that type of shit. I'm not sure what type of car he drives. I would guess that he probably doesn't even drive a Mercedes or any type of expensive car. He looks like a regular truck guy or whatever. Like, I'm sure he saves his money pretty well. I'm sure he's not going to be hurting for money in 3 or 4 years, right? If his body is hurting and he doesn't want to do this shit anymore, I can see him hanging it up, especially if the Chargers don't do right by him. So I think that's another angle that people have to recognize. He could say, fuck all this shit and go home. He really could, right? Especially if he's got $100 million in the bank, right? He could easily say that. He's not going to be hurting. And you know, if he wants to come back later at some point, maybe in later on in his life, maybe he can, but I don't know. You have to look at it from that standpoint. Is he going to love football the same way in 3 years if this shit continues with the Chargers? We don't know. We have no idea. Let's see. No quarterback in the NFL would have won in a Charger uniform today. Right, 100%. I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, if you're not, if Herbert feels that way too, then that's what I'm saying. How long can he put up with this? You know what I'm saying? How long can he really be in love with this? I don't know. This offensive line was atrocious. They needed to play action pass more. They were more successful and they were getting massive yards in play action pass. They couldn't play action though because they didn't run the ball. The play action is a play action to it's you have to set it up, right? You have to set it up with the run game. If you run the ball successfully enough, then you can set up the play action. But if you don't run the ball successfully enough, you can't play action. You can't do it. And when you look at the numbers, right? Herbert was 28 of 47. Herbert threw the ball 47 times a game. He throws the ball the most in the league, right? Week in and week out, it's over 40 attempts, right? 47 attempts. Obviously, is too much. He threw the ball 47 times. So defenses know. Everybody in the league knows. All 31 other teams know that the Chargers want to throw the ball. They don't want to run the ball. Chargers do not want to run the ball at all. It's been like that all season long. We are number 30 in rushing. I think we're number 31 now. But when you look at the rushing yards, Chargers had 72 rushing yards in this game. That's well under what the average is. I think the Chargers average like 80 rushing yards a game. So this is 72 rushing yards. They know that they weren't going to throw the ball. So you cannot successfully set up play action because they are going to attack the quarterback. Whether it's a play action pass or not, whether they are actually handing the ball off, Max Crosby, the blitzers, Perryman in the middle, those guys are coming in dead set on Justin Herbert, and they're going to hit him, right? Whether or not he actually hands the ball off or not, they are going to close in on him and hit him. So you have to set that up. This is why Joe Lombardi doesn't know what he's doing as an offensive play caller. He doesn't know what he's doing as a coach. These are things that you have to set up. You can't just come out and play action all game long. You have to be able to run the ball. You have to show the other team that you are committed to running the ball because everybody knows the Chargers don't want to run the ball. There's not going to be a game that goes on for the rest of the season for these next 5 games where Herbert doesn't throw less than 40 times. He's going to be over 40 times every single game, right? And as far as the total plays go, so let's see what the total plays. Chargers had 74 total plays. Herbert threw for 47 times. So out of 74 total plays, Herbert throws 47 times, right? That's more than half the plays that the Chargers are throwing the ball, right? More than half. So everybody knows the Chargers are going to throw the ball. They're likely not going to hand the ball off a lot. And to be honest with you, the Chargers ran the ball more than I thought they would, even in the first half. So this could have easily been 55, passing attempts. You cannot set up play action without running the ball. This is something that a lot of teams know, right? I would say that most teams probably know this. But if you're not good at running the ball, your play action doesn't mean anything. You're not going to get separation. DBs know. Everybody knows. It's just not good enough. And this is something that has to be set up by the offense. If your offense doesn't set it up, you have no chance of it, right? This same thing with trick plays and all that stuff. Those have to be set up. You can't just pull that out of your ass at any given point in a game. They have to be set up. Right, if you just think you're going to trick play somebody and it goes wrong, you have a fumble, interception, or something like that, it's on the offense. It's on the offensive coordinator. Those type of things have to be set up. They must be set up. You cannot just come out and do that because teams know that the Chargers want to throw the ball. They know that. They know that they're not going to run the ball. They know that they don't want to be physical inside. They want to drop back and have Herbert throw the ball all over the field. So when knowing that, you have to prepare for it. But they still don't even do that. So yeah, I mean, but play action is not going to make a big difference, right? I mean, you might hit on it every now and then, but for the most part, it's just not going to make a difference if you don't run the ball, because at that point, it's just something that you're doing, right? You might as well just drop back. So, but yeah, it doesn't make a big difference. This is Dean's only way of income. He has to take it seriously, right? I think that as well too, especially since the other siblings don't want to sell the team. They don't want to sell the team, so they do have to take this seriously, because income will drop if the Chargers are not a competitive type of team. Income will drop. People will stop going to games. You'll have opposing fans come into games, but Charger fans they'll stop going to games. Like, LA is a big city. There's a lot of shit to do, and I'm not gonna go and pay. Me personally, I'm not gonna go and pay $150 to watch a 6-10 team or whatever. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not. There's no way. There's no way. I can watch at home. I can go do something else. I can go walk around the Grove. I can go whatever. I can go do something else. I can't. I'm not paying that type of money to go watch a shitty team play shitty football. Not a chance. Not a chance. And there's a lot of other people around the city that feel like me. So, unless you got to quit the Chargers for a while, giving me high blood pressure. Man, you should be used to it already, man. You should be used to it. You really should be used to it. There's no you should expect this now. This is what the Chargers do. This is what the Chargers do. This is how they operate. So I'm already off that. I'm already off the they should win. I'm hoping that they win, but I'm not surprised. I'm not upset that they don't. It's just, I like to come on here and I like to talk about the ways that they are not winning, right? The incompetent coaching. I like to point that out, because something has to be done about it, right? We got to talk about it. We got to raise our voices, because something has to be done. So, let's see. I'm so upset, Brody's. Yeah, man, just this point, just watch it for the entertainment. There's entertainment value in this. So just watch it for that. I felt like they were running the ball fine. They were in the first half, but again, the Chargers are always going to go away from it. They are never going to stick to it. They are never, ever, ever going to stick. Joe Lombardi is going to go away from it. He's going to go away from a decent run game to run stick routes. He's going to do it every single game. Every single game, he is going to do it. So it shouldn't be a surprise at this point. Really shouldn't. Real fans would still go to games. No, that's not really. Being a real fan doesn't mean that you support a team when they are purposely incompetent. That doesn't mean that. It really doesn't mean that. Being a fan means that you spend money on a team, you consume, right? You take time out of your day to watch games and all of that stuff. If the team is not going to, try to do its best to put out the best product that they possibly can for their fans, there's nothing wrong with saying, no, forget about this. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Real fans are not, these tickets are expensive, right? It's expensive. If you've ever been to a game at SoFi, it's expensive as shit. Everything is expensive, right? Even away from the tickets, right? What's your parking situation? Unless you're paying $100 for one of the pink or yellow lot parkings, you're paying a bunch of money to park, right? Or even to park across the street at the Forum. It's still $80 to do that, right? You can walk a couple of miles, or maybe try to get an Uber, park in one of the parking garages. It's a lot of fucking hassle to go to a game. So for people to say you're not a real fan if you wouldn't go to the game, bullshit. I'm not a real fan. I'm a real fan, but they better put some real football in my face. I'm not going to go watch no 5-11 team. I'm not paying $150 to do that. You're crazy. That's nuts. Why would you do that? Why would anybody do that? That's not being a real fan. That's being a realistic fan, saying, hey, if you guys get better, I will come watch. That's bullshit. These organizations, these teams, they are incompetent. They are purposely incompetent. They know what the issue is. They know what the problem is. Everybody can see what this problem is, right? All us Charger fans, we're not GMs. We don't have any NFL executive experience, but we can all see the problem and we can all point it out. So if your fans can point out the problem, the organization should be able to point out the problem. And if the organization doesn't point out the problem and do something about it, it's not on the fans to sit there and support them, to continue giving them their money and saying, here you go. I know you guys are not going to win. I know you guys are going to suck. I know you guys are not going to make the playoffs. I know you guys are going to waste two of the best seasons that one of the best quarterbacks in the league is going to have. But here you go. Here, still take my money. Bullshit. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. That's ridiculous. A real fan wants your team to win. That's what a real fan does. That's what a real fan does. A real fan, I want my team to win. And if my team is not going to win, and if they're purposely incompetent and they don't make moves to address issues that everybody can see, that fans who don't really have casual football fans can see, no, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, and that's why the Chargers have the least amount of fans, and that's why people talk a lot of shit about the fan base, because the Chargers are a joke franchise, and they've been a joke franchise for a long time. They haven't taken it seriously, and if you don't take it seriously, you're not going to get fans. You're not going to get fans. It's just not that's not the way it works. LA is a very, 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 very hotbed for sports fans of all types, right? Lakers, Dodgers, people love sports, USC football. There's a bunch of people I know in LA, who are USC football fans, but have absolutely no affiliation with any NFL team, right? They just say, "Oh, I just watch USC football," right? I haven't been a NFL fan since the Rams left back in '94 or whatever it was, right? I haven't been a NFL. There's a whole big market of untapped fans that the Chargers really, really, if they were doing things the right way, they could have all of those fans in SoFi every single year. But guess what? And looking at them this year, guess what? Guess who's not going to be there? Those same fans that I'm talking about. They're not going to be in SoFi. Why? Why would they go and spend their hard-earned money on this joke-ass franchise, right? You have a quarterback who's comparable to Josh Allen. You have a quarterback who's comparable to Patrick Mahomes, but he's on the team that looks like shit. Why would fans go out there and spend their hard-earned money? You tell me why. You tell me why those fans would do that, right? Because they're not broke. They go to USC games, and I don't know if you guys seen USC tickets this year, but they were a pretty damn penny, right? And rightfully so, because the team got better. Lincoln Riley's there and all that stuff. So they can afford to go. They can afford to go to games at SoFi. They can afford to be Charger fans, right? They're just not, because the franchise is a joke. Why would they go get behind a loser? Nobody gets behind a loser. This is what people, maybe a lot of these fans, and I'm not saying you specifically, Billy J916, but a lot of these fans are insecure. Nobody wants to get behind a loser. I'm not getting behind a loser. I don't give a shit about that. I'm not getting behind a loser. I want to get behind a winner. I want my team to win. And if you don't have any affiliations to any team, why would you go get behind a loser? Why? That doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make you a real fan. Just like when the Clippers moved from Buffalo to San Diego, from San Diego to LA, the Clippers were a joke franchise. Why didn't people get behind them? Why don't the Clippers have that many fans in LA? Because they sucked. They were a joke franchise. They didn't do anything to get better. They knew what issues that were going on. Ownership, Donald Sterling was cheap. He didn't want to spend any money. He didn't want to pay anybody. Why would you get behind a loser? It doesn't make sense. People don't get behind losers. That's not what it is. You don't get behind a loser. Why do the Cowboys have so many fans now? Because they used to win. They won. The Cowboys dominated the 90s. I remember I was little. I remember that. Everybody was jumping on the Cowboys bandwagon because people get behind winners. That's what life is. You get behind winners. You get behind winners. You get support behind winners. People want to choose. They want to choose to root for winners. People don't want to choose to root for losers. They just don't. They don't. They just don't. That's what it is. That's what life is. So if you don't build a winner, and again, LA is about winning. This is a very, very successful city. There's a lot of successful people. There's people, transplants from all around the country, all around the world in LA, who come out and do fucking great things. Really, really great things. Make a lot of money, help a lot of people out, do all this other type of great shit. Why would you choose a losing team? Why? If you've won all your life, if you've been successful all your life, why would you get behind a loser? Why would you get behind a clown franchise? Why would you get behind an incompetent franchise? Especially if that's not the way that you lived your life. You can't relate to that. You can't relate to being the lovable underdog who fails every time they get a chance to do some great shit. No, that's not the way it works. That is not the way it works. There's some psychoanalogy behind a lot of this stuff, right? Why people cheer for certain teams. They want to get behind winners, right? They want to get behind winners. Some people want to be loyal, but you're not going to find a lot of people who are just going to be loyal to a fault. The Chargers come out next year with Brandon Staley and they go 4-13. You think people are going to be paying to go to games? No, those seats are going to be empty. There's a reason why. There's a reason why those seats are empty. I don't know if anybody remembers 2016 when the Rams first moved to LA, when they first moved back to LA from St. Louis. Does anybody remember that year? Does anybody remember that year? I remember watching the game against the Falcons, right? I think it was a home game against the Falcons, and it was, I don't even think it was that late in the season, but the Falcons were blowing the doors off of the Jeff Fisher coach Rams. Guess what the Coliseum was? Empty as a mug. LA does not get behind losers. People should understand this. If you are an original San Diego fan, whatever, that's fine. But understand, the people of LA do not get behind losers. They don't. You have to win. You have to produce. There's a lot of shit to do around here. Everything is expensive. And if you want some market share, you have to produce a winner. Everybody understands this. The Spanos family understood this when they moved from San Diego to LA. It's not just enough to have games and have fun and go eat hot dogs and all of this shit. You have to produce a winner in LA. If you're not going to produce a winner in LA, then the Chargers should just move back to San Diego, because I'm sure that the fans of San Diego and all this, they will be fine with just having a team there, right? Doesn't matter if they're good or not. They'll just be fine with having a team there. It's not how it is in LA. You got to produce a winner, or else you will not get fans. And if you don't produce a winner, you're not going to get the fans who don't have an affiliation to an NFL team. You're just not going to. Understand this. Understand this. So no, you can't tell people that they're not real fans for cheering on a loser. Fuck that. That's not how the city of LA works. That's why it's the most successful city in the world. That's why it's so fast paced. That's not what goes on. That is not what goes on. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. If people cheered on losers all the time, there would be no Skid Row, right? You can go down there and, hey, no, people drive past those people, right? Because they're deemed as losers, right? Now, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's okay to look at people of less fortune like that. But when it comes to the psychology of getting behind somebody, right? Getting behind somebody, cheering on a team, people want to support winners. And if you do not put a team that is a winner out there in LA, people will not fuck with it. They will not fuck with it at all. At all. Name somebody, give me somebody on the Angels. Name somebody on the Angels besides Ohtani and Mike Trout. You probably can't. Have you been to an Angels game in I don't know, the last 10 years? I used to live right by Angel Stadium. Nobody goes to their fucking games at all. And it's crazy because they have two of the best players in baseball. Nobody goes to their games. You know why? Because they don't win. They don't win and nobody gives a shit. So this is the same thing here. Herbert is as talented as he is. If the Chargers don't win, nobody's going to give a shit. It's just what it is. LA is a cutthroat city. You have to have a winner. This is not asshole USA. This is not a southern city with 20,000 people in there who are just happy to have. This is not Green Bay, Wisconsin. This is not the Midwest. This is not. LA is a cutthroat city. You got to come in. You got to take some market share. And you got to take it. You can't just hope it. You got to take it. LA is a cutthroat city. So if you're not going to succeed, if you're not going to produce, guess what? You ain't going to cut it. And that's just what it is right now. And you cannot call these people, you can't look at fans like this and say they're not real fans. Bullshit. They have better things to do with their time. They have better things to do with their money. And I'm included in that. So no, you're not going to tell me that I'm not a real fan. I've been a fan of this team for 20 years. If they're going to bullshit and they're not going to take it serious, I'm not. Right, the years, the 4 and 12 years, the 5 and 11 years, and all of that stuff. Right, I haven't watched the late in the season. I'm not watching those games. I'm not. I'm just not. I'm not gonna watch those games. Why? Why would I go and waste my time? My time is my money. So I got money to make. No, thank you. So you cannot sit here and tell these fans that they're not real fans. That's bullshit. I don't agree with that, and it's bullshit. You know it too. Let's see. I need an OT round 1 in the draft. Need to go get a top wide receiver when you have. No need to go get a top wide receiver when you have Palmer. Chargers need speed though. They need speed. They need speed, and Jalen Guyton's going to be free agent at the end of the year. So if he decides to come back, maybe. But he's going to have his options as well too, because he is a guy that can take the top off of defense. He's going to have his options somewhere. So I don't know. Let's see. Something has to change, or we wasted talent. Herbert needs to change. We already are. We're in the process of doing that. So yeah, they got to change something now. So let's see. What are the chances that Staley or Lombardi gets fired tomorrow, end of the week? I don't think they get fired at the end of the week or tomorrow. They're still technically in the playoffs, mathematically in the play. I would be shocked if that happened. I would be literally shocked. Because they would be giving up on the season if that happened. But damn, I could see possibly Lombardi, but Staley, I don't think so. But yeah, I honestly don't think that. If they did do that, would honestly be the best course of action, in my opinion, because they would be not only the best. Chargers would not only be the best head coaching job, but they would be able to get a head start on all of the coaches out there who have interest. Right? They would be able to talk to Harbaugh's people or anybody else's people, Sean Payton or whatever. They would get a head start on it. But I don't think they do that because they would be telling the players, okay, we're done this season, right? We're not going to make the playoffs. We're just going to, plan to next season and years forward. I don't think that happens, but that would be the best. It would be the best thing if they did do that, though. Let's see. Facts, bro. There's been no improvement, which was obvious at the end of the year. 100%. 100%. Yeah, speaking nothing but facts. Hate that I love this team so much. Yeah. We all love it, but if this team is not serious, if they don't take it seriously, we shouldn't take them serious. That's just how I see it. They make hundreds of millions of dollars, win or lose. Win or lose. So the least that they can do is be grateful that they have fans that are willing to go out to the stadium, that are willing to go out and spend their hard-earned money to watch this team play. They should be taking it serious. The onus is on them to take it serious. It's not on us as fans. It's not on us. It's not on us it's not on us to say, oh, I'm going to support this team no matter what. Bullshit. They win 2 games next year. Guess who? I'm not supporting. I'm still going to call myself a fan. Yes. But am I going to watch games? No. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go make money. My time is my money. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have time to sit there and watch a shitty team. I don't have that time. If my team is going to compete and they're going to put a product on the field that is competitive, right, that can win games, that has a chance to get to the playoffs and make noise, well, yes, I'm going to be there 100% rooting my team on. But I am not going to sit there and root for a loser. I'm not a Clippers fan. If you have any issues with that, I don't give a shit. I don't care. If you're going to sit there and root for a loser, bullshit. That's on you. You might have a lot of time to waste. I don't. I got 2 kids. I got a wife, right? I got to go out there. I got to make money. I got to provide. I'm not watching losing football. I'm just not doing that. So if the team doesn't have a chance to compete, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So, hey, it is what it is. Let's see. Need to clean house or we'll lose any fans we have left, especially current situation. Yeah, where we need to gain fans. 100%. You're not going to gain fans by losing. And people don't give a shit if you call them real fans or not. You're just not going to. It's just not going to happen. People are not going to spend money, and it's going to affect the bottom line. So it is what it is. They're going to have to make a choice sooner or later. The sooner they rip the Band-Aid off, the better it will be. Winning is the cure. Yes, it is. Padres didn't have any fans until they started winning. I'm from San Diego. It's true. 100%. Exactly. That's why a lot of people have called, and even me, I'm a Dodger fan. Hey, Padres whooped their ass this year. I can say it. Congratulations to you guys. But a lot of people for a lot of years called Petco Park Dodger Stadium South because the Padres trotted out shitty teams year in and year out. And the people of San Diego didn't give a shit. They would rather have went to the beach and laid on the beach all day long than go to Petco and pay for parking and pay for tickets and pay for concessions and all that stuff. People don't care in these big cities, especially in California, especially Southern California. You better have a winner. If you don't have a winner, you're not going to have a lot of support. That's just what it is. It is what it is. Let's see. Harbaugh sounds good right about now. Yeah. That's why I've been talking about Harbaugh. I hope that he's available and I hope that he's interested. That's all I hope. Raiders got to the playoffs with the interim head coach. Yes, that beat our defensive genius. So yeah. What are your thoughts about JC coming back and all the money spent or going to be spent? I feel you're under a new coach, and I'm from the old great linebackers and the great running game wins championships. 100%. JC, I don't know, man. I think JC Jackson. I think the Chargers should be trying to. They should be trying. Well, honestly, I don't think they're going to be able to move him as of right now because the injury that he had is pretty bad. So I don't think any teams are going to bite on his contract with that injury. So if the Chargers are going to move him next year, it's going to have to be at the trade deadline. I think that's probably the only way that it can happen because you're hoping that he comes back. And you're hoping that he comes back and plays good football so that you are able to kind of showcase him because as of right now, again, his money jumps from $8 million this year to $17 million next year. So what teams are going to be willing to take a swing on a corner coming off of a major, like a possibly career changing injury making all that money, right? With still a lot of guaranteed money left. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to move him. But I think next year is gonna play a very, very crucial role in whether the Chargers are going to be able to keep him or move him. If he plays well, if he's the same old J.C. Jackson or anything close to it, he'll gain a lot of interest, especially from teams that are contenders or whatever. Maybe a contender in the NFC maybe wants to trade for him or whatever. But I think it's dicey right now. I think it's up in the air. But as of right now, he's going to be back with us just by hook or crook. But it's going to be a toss up at this point. Let's see. You do post on bolts from the blue, or make the transition? Is that from? Are you asking me? Is it bolts from the blue? I don't have the only Twitter that I have is my Pigskin Addicts. I don't post anywhere else. I don't have a I know there's a lot of Charger accounts, but I don't run any of those. So no, that's not me. The only one that I have is Pigskin Addicts. If I did have another one, I would. If I did have another one, I would probably have like a personal account. But yeah, I only tweet from my Pigskin Addicts account. And I only tweet every now and then too, because I got kids, man, and I got a 6-week-old, so my time is very my time for social media is very sparse, right? I don't have a lot of time, so I don't tweet too much. But I do sometime on game days. I will tweet, or if I see stories in between, or if I know that I'm gonna post a video or something, I'll try to like maybe tweet something, maybe to try to get people to watch the video or whatever. But yeah, I don't tweet a lot, and I typically don't tweet every day. But yeah, no, that's not me. I've seen the bolts from the blue Twitter though, so I do know there are a lot of Charger accounts that were people who don't necessarily show their face or disclose who they are. I don't post like personal pictures of myself, but my Twitter is connected to this channel here. So if people want to see who I am, they can just come to my YouTube and see my face and stuff. So, but yeah, let's see. You can't tell me Eric Bieniemy wouldn't bring the best out of Herbert and actually open up the offense. Yeah, he could, but I don't think that he would be a first-time head coach. The Chargers need somebody with experience right now. That they need an experienced head coach. They need a guy who is experienced at the NFL level. They need a guy who has had success, playoff success. They need a guy who has been there before. Eric Bieniemy, I think he maybe he gets a head coaching job this year, possibly, but I don't think it's with the Chargers. I just don't think we can't do another first-time head coach. I just don't think it's crucial time in Herbert's career. This is going to be the end of year 3. No playoffs, right? No playoffs either of the 3 years. You need a coach that can get you to the playoffs, not a maybe. You need a coach who is for sure going to change things. And all of the other coaches, first-year coaches, they've done great stuff in different places, but they're maybes, right? Jim Harbaugh is a guy he's going to change the culture, right? You give him time, he's going to change the culture. That's what he's going to do because he's done it everywhere else. But as far as the first-time head coaches, I just don't. We got to be done with it. We got to be done with it because you can't. These guys are not going to be able to succeed at the level that we need to succeed right now. So, yeah, I like Bieniemy. I think he's going to be a good head coach if he does get an opportunity, if he does get a good quarterback to work with. But I just don't think I don't think he's for us. I really don't. I honestly don't. Dan Quinn might be another choice. I like what he does on defense, but I don't know, man. I don't know. And that's one that I've heard, and that's one that I've seen, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I don't hate it. To be honest with you, I don't hate it. But I think an offensive coach I think Herbert needs an offensive coach. right now. I think he needs an offensive coach. I think he needs a offensive head coach who can let him play, right? And I think that's the difference in having a defensive head coach and an offensive head coach. Your offensive head coach is going to let your quarterback play, and defensive head coaches are typically their DNA is about being conservative, right? Especially in times of crisis, right? They are conservative. They're going to go and they're going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. Um, I don't know. I just don't. I like what Dan Quinn has done with defense though. He's done a very good job with the Cowboys defense, and he runs the 4-3, and I think that's what the Chargers need to be in right now. But offensively, unless he makes like a home run offensive coordinator hire, I don't know, because at that point, who would he hire to be the offensive coordinator? Who would he take to be the offensive coordinator with him? Um, would he take somebody in Dallas like Kellen Moore? I don't think that would be great. I don't know. I'm not against it, but I would have to see who his hire would be as OC, because that would be the most important thing. I know defensively they would get better. Obviously, the Chargers would get a lot better defensively, but who would be the hire? Who would be the offensive coordinator hire? If it's somebody who can open up the playbook and really bring the best out of the offense, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But yeah, Dan Quinn has experience. He has a lot of experience. That's what I'm talking about. But I think it depends on who the hire is. I really do. I see Kamari said that too. Dan Quinn. Yeah, I think he's going to get, if the job is open. Well, when the job is open, I think the Chargers will interview him for sure. He deserves it. Look, I'm as a coordinator. I don't trust him as a head coach. Yeah, I'm here. I'm kind of the same. But he did get a team to the Super Bowl. He got Matt Ryan. He got them to the Super Bowl. Him hiring Kyle Shanahan was a great hire, so I do have to give him credit for that. Defensively, the Falcons were good. I think personnel-wise, I think that things kind of went left for him in Atlanta. Dan Quinn. That's one I'll probably research. I'll probably make a video about that. Like I said, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I don't hate it at all because he's done more good. He's done more good in this league than bad. I don't hate that at all. I really don't. I really, really don't hate that. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have to make a video about that. I don't hate it though. I really don't. I really don't hate it. Try and bring back Shane as OC. I like Steichen. I like what he's doing right now with the Eagles, but to me, I want a guy who I can see calling plays in the Super Bowl. I can't see Shane Steichen calling plays in the Super Bowl. Now, if the Eagles get to the Super Bowl this year, okay, I can see that. But I want somebody who I can see calling plays in the Super Bowl. Like, that's what I see. Can I see them? That's what I think. When the Chargers hire head coaches, can I see that coach on the sideline at the Super Bowl? When the Chargers hired Mike McCoy, it was a no. When the Chargers hired Anthony Lynn, it was a no. When they hired Brandon Staley, it was maybe, because maybe this guy has a plan. I like what he's been saying, but obviously now, no, I can't see that. I can see Dan Quinn on the sideline in the Super Bowl coaching. I can, but as far as head coach, as far as offensive coordinators go, I don't know. I just don't know. Again, even like the head coaching thing, if the offensive coordinator position opens up, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be lining up to try to get into that position. So I'm sure the Chargers wouldn't have any shortage of great candidates, but I don't know, man. We'll have to see. We'll have to check and see there. But yeah, I don't hate Dan Quinn. I don't hate Dan Quinn about I don't hate Dan Quinn. I really don't. But yeah, no, I think if Shane Steichen, I want to see him if he has a good playoff run, right? If he's really creative as far as the playoffs go, if Jalen Hurts plays well, if the offense is rolling, right, if they're clicking, then yeah, I can see Shane Steichen doing that, because he's not going to have to he's not going to have to reach into his bag of creativity to work with Justin Herbert, right? Herbert's going to make him look like $1 million as the offensive coordinator. But I just think for him, I think the experience, because he's so young, I think him having experience and being there before, right? Having been there before, having been in big playoff games, NFC championships and stuff like that. If he's able to do that, then yes, I can see it. But I think just the experience level for me, because right now that's the biggest thing I think for the Chargers, right? I think the Chargers, when it comes to coaching, it's experience, right? Can you see Joe Lombardi calling plays in the Super Bowl? No. The answer is fuck no to that, right? You cannot see that. You cannot see when you picture, you think about the Super Bowl broadcast, right? On Fox this year, and they're going over the coaches and they're all of these cameras everywhere, right? Just close your eyes. Can you see Joe Lombardi up in the booth calling plays as an offensive coordinator? Fuck no. The answer is fuck no. You open your eyes, you get to reality real quick. Absolutely not. You cannot. You can't see it. So that's what I'm saying. I want to see coaches who I can see calling plays in the Super Bowl, standing on the sideline in the Super Bowl, calling plays in the Super Bowl. Shane Steichen, possibly he could be calling plays in the Super Bowl this year, depending on if the Eagles keep rolling. But there's a lot of coaches where I can't see that. Right? When you look at Jim Harbaugh, you 100% can see that. You 100% can see him calling plays, walking around on the sidelines in the Super Bowl in his khakis. You can 1000% see it because you've seen it before, right? So that's what I look at. Can I see this guy doing his job in the Super Bowl? That's what I look at. I would hate to see Harbaugh go to the Raiders or Denver. The Raiders are not firing Josh McDaniels. He's going to be there. The Raiders can't afford to fire him because they can't afford to pay him the money that they owe him on his contract. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of cash. The Raiders have mismanaged a lot of things. That's why they had to hire that woman. She's the first Black woman to be president in the NFL or whatever. They brought her in because I've heard that she's really good with finance. I think a lot of people were saying, they just hired her just because she's Black or whatever. No, I think they hired her. They hired her to find out where all their money is going. So I'm pretty sure that's the role that she's playing. I don't think she doesn't do anything football wise. She is cleaning up their books financially because they have skipped out on taxes. They have done a bunch of weird shit, and only the Raiders can do it, right? It's just it's hilarious. So they had to bring somebody in to clean it up. That's who that's what she's there to do. I can't remember. I think her name is Tiffany something, but she's there to clean it up. And I'm sure she has a hell of a mess on her hands right now, but that's what she's there to do. So the Raiders will not be firing Josh McDaniels. They can't afford it. Jim Harbaugh will not be going to Denver. I don't think that is likely at all. Russell Wilson is not the type of quarterback that Jim Harbaugh likes to play with. He just doesn't. He doesn't play the way Harbaugh wants him to. He holds the ball. He does too much ad-libbing. I don't think Jim Harbaugh would have success with him. I know Harbaugh probably knows that he won't have success with him. He does too much. He holds the ball too much, right? Pretty much. That's just not that's not the way Harbaugh wants to play. Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Russell Wilson wants to throw the ball. And, with Russell Wilson having that big contract extension too, I don't think Harbaugh would be interested in going to Denver because he knows that he would probably be gone from Denver before Russell Wilson is. So I don't think he wants to do that either. So I'm really not worried about that. Let's see. Who do you want as GM going forward? I said this the other day. I think the Chargers, the best move to make at GM right now is Will McClay. He is the president of player personnel. I think president of player personnel or player personnel, whatever, with the Cowboys, right? Will McClay, he's been doing this for the past 10 years, I believe. He took over the Cowboys draft in 2014. And since that time, he's drafted countless Pro Bowlers. He's drafted all pros. He has drafted a lot of guys, depth pieces, right? Later on in the drafts, 4th round and below. He's drafted guys pretty much at every round that have contributed to the Cowboys or still contribute to the Cowboys now. This guy knows personnel. He knows personnel like crazy. He is very, very good. He started off, I think, as an area scout with the Cowboys, and he is the vice president or president of player personnel, whatever, something. He has some fancy title, but he has no actual power in the Cowboys, right? Jerry Jones runs the franchise. We know this. We already know this. He makes all the final decisions. So hiring Will McClay would be a step up for Will McClay, right? He would have that GM next to his name, and anybody who he felt, he could draft would be the guy he would draft, right? He is the guy that talked Jerry Jones off a ledge. Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. He got Jerry Jones and his son to instead take Zach Martin. Zach Martin has been an all-pro. Zach Martin's going to be a Hall of Famer, right, when it's all said and done. That's who Will McClay is, right? He is a guy that when you have these prospects who are so great and everybody's talking about them and all this stuff and the Johnny Manziels of the world and all that stuff, he's a guy that takes the guy that goes, after Johnny Manziel, or he's a guy that takes somebody else before him that you never really heard of that turns out to be, this all-pro Hall of Fame type of player. That's who Will McClay is. I want Will McClay. He knows personnel. He knows drafts. He can really maximize this team, really, especially being on a budget, not having the salary cap flexibility. He can get the most. He can get the most out of this team. So I want Will McClay, and I think he's there for the taking. This Jerry Jones stuff with the picture that came out with the from the 50s when he was, with the group of segregationists, giving the black kids a hard time, all that. Like I'm sure all of that stuff has come into his mind. Will McClay is black. So I'm sure that stuff is fresh on his mind. I'm sure his friends are probably telling him about it. And again, even beyond that, even past that, Will McClay will never be GM of the Cowboys, right? Will McClay is at the highest level of the Cowboys organization that he will ever be. Jerry Jones is going to give the keys to the organization to his family, right? When he dies, his son is going to be the owner of the Cowboys, right? And Stephen Jones, his son, is going to be the owner of the Cowboys when he dies. So this is going to be in the Jones family for a very, 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 very long time, right? Will McClay will never have any real power in the Cowboys organization. If the Chargers were able to poach him, Will McClay could make personnel decisions as the GM, because as we know, the Spanos family doesn't really, and they are passive to a fault, right? They don't get involved in anything really, and they probably should a little more, but they don't get involved in anything. They let whoever the GM is, they let the executive staff handle all of those decisions, right? They just get the approval as far as money goes, and then they're able to handle those decisions. So Will McClay will be able to build a team, whatever his vision is, and if his vision lines up with whoever the new head coach will be, it could be a really, really, really good thing, because both of those guys could be on the same page, especially Will McClay's background and personnel. I want that. I really, really want that. I think the Chargers need that. So I think Will McClay would be the perfect guy to go at to replace Tom Telesco. Let's see, Spanos better do something to continue being a laughing stock of an organization. Yeah, I don't think they care. They're making money, so they're making money hand over fist. So they I don't think they really care. They're swimming in cash. So I don't think they care, but I do think that this could affect the bottom line if the Chargers are not as good. So I do think that they will make a decision. I honestly do. Bring him Will McClay. Yeah, I think the Chargers should. I definitely do. Let's see. I seen this one. It says Herbert sounded so upset during that post-game interview. I didn't watch it. I'm gonna watch it now. I'm about to get off here right now, but I'm gonna go watch all that stuff right now, and I will be obviously making content and dropping some videos tomorrow. So I am gonna go ahead and sign off here. Been on for almost 2 hours, but I'm gonna sign off here. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you everybody for the comments, all of the engagement. Thank you for the super chats. Really, really appreciate it. I'm going to sign off here pretty soon. Let's see. We have the power in boycotting. Are we up to it? Probably not. There's a lot of people who are okay with losing. They're conditioned losers. They want, just like the dude earlier said, we're not real fans if we don't go and pay exorbitant fees to watch our team lose. We're not real fans. So there's a lot of people like that. So probably won't get a boycott. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's depends on how bad it can be, and if Justin Herbert makes noise and supports it, maybe we can. But I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. Mary FedEx, thank you so much. Appreciate it, man. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off here, guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I'll be back. I'll be dropping videos tomorrow all week long. So thank you guys. Really appreciate it, and have a good night.